Welcome to Raw History. Here we cut through romanticization and speculation to show you the unfiltered reality of human history. Stand before any medieval cathedral, walk through a Viking ship museum, or examine the ancient timber-framed houses dotting the English countryside, and you're confronting an engineering marvel that honestly defies modern expectations. These structures, built between 800 and 1,500 years ago, have withstood centuries of rain, snow, rot and decay without a single modern chemical treatment. The oak beams supporting Westminster Hall, constructed in 1097 CE, still carry the weight of history. The Stave churches of Norway, erected in the 12th and 13th centuries, stand defiant against Scandinavian winters. How did medieval builders achieve such remarkable preservation without contemporary sealants, pressure treatments, or synthetic compounds? Well, the answer lies in a sophisticated understanding of materials, chemistry, and craftsmanship that, frankly, modern construction has largely abandoned. The foundation: strategic wood selection and preparation. Medieval builders didn't simply fell the nearest tree. Their wood selection process began with species identification based on intended use and local environmental conditions. Oak dominated European construction from the 9th century onward due to its high tannin content, which naturally repels insects and resists fungal decay. Archaeological evidence from the Mary Rose, Henry VIII's warship that sank in 1545, reveals that builders specifically chose heartwood over sapwood, as the dense inner timber contains more protective compounds and less moisture. Dendrochronology studies of medieval structures across Europe confirm that builders consistently selected trees aged 100 to 200 years, allowing the wood to develop maximum density and natural preservative properties. The timing of timber harvest proved equally critical. Medieval forestry records, including the 14th century English forest laws and German forestry manuals from the 1300s, mandated winter felling between November and February. During this dormant period, sap content drops to minimum levels, reducing the sugar and starch that attract wood-boring insects and promote fungal growth. The Venetian arsenal, documented from 1104 CE, maintained strict seasonal felling schedules for its shipbuilding timber. Modern analysis of medieval ships preserved in harbour mud, such as the Bremen cog from 1380, shows significantly lower moisture content in the timber compared to trees felled during growing seasons, confirming the effectiveness of this practice. Air drying represented another crucial preservation step. Medieval builders seasoned timber for 3 to 7 years before construction, a practice documented in 13th century French masonry treatises and English carpentry guild records. They stacked timber with spacers to promote air circulation, stored it under cover but exposed to air movement, and regularly rotated pieces to ensure even drying. Examination of timbers from the 14th century Salisbury Cathedral roof shows moisture content stabilized at 12 to 15%, the ideal range for preventing rot while maintaining workability. This extended seasoning period allowed wood cells to contract and harden, creating a denser material more resistant to water penetration. Natural coatings, chemistry without modern science. Pine tar emerged as the primary waterproofing agent across medieval Europe and Scandinavia. Archaeological excavations at Viking shipyards in Denmark and Norway have uncovered tar production sites dating to the 9th and 10th centuries, where builders slow-burned pine roots and stumps in earthen kilns to extract thick, viscous tar. Chemical analysis of preserved Viking ships, including the Oseberg ship from 834 CE, reveals multiple layers of pine tar application, creating a waterproof barrier. The tar penetrates wood fibers, displacing moisture and forming a protective coating that repels water while allowing the timber to breathe. Medieval European ships underwent tar application annually, with records from Hanseatic League ports documenting regular maintenance schedules throughout the 13th to 15th centuries. Linseed oil provided an alternative preservation method, particularly for interior timbers and decorative elements. The oil, extracted from flax seeds through cold pressing techniques documented in 12th century Italian agricultural texts, penetrates deeply into wood grain. Medieval craftsmen heated linseed oil to reduce viscosity and improve absorption, then applied multiple thin coats over weeks or months. Analysis of wooden panels from medieval altarpieces, such as those from the 14th century Sienese school, shows linseed oil penetration up to 5 millimeters deep, creating a stable, water-resistant matrix. The oil polymerizes over time, forming a tough, flexible coating that moves with the wood as it expands and contracts with humidity changes. Beeswax mixed with turpentine created a premium waterproofing compound for high-value timber elements. Medieval account books from European monasteries and royal households document regular purchases of beeswax and turpentine for timber treatment from the 12th century onward. The mixture, heated to liquid consistency and brushed onto prepared surfaces, fills wood pores and creates a hard, water-repellent finish. Examination of choir stalls from English cathedrals, dating to the 1300s, reveals this wax treatment preserved carved details with remarkable clarity. The combination also provided a pleasant sheen and protection against dirt accumulation, making it ideal for interior architectural elements. Controlled charring of timber surfaces represents perhaps the most innovative medieval preservation technique. While, the Japanese shusugi-ban method gained fame in modern architecture, European builders actually developed similar approaches on their own, centuries earlier. Archaeological evidence from medieval foundation posts in England, Germany and France, dating from the 11th to 15th centuries, shows deliberate charring of timber bases buried in soil. The practice, interestingly, appears in written records as early as the 9th century, with Carolingian building accounts mentioning fire-hardened posts for structures ranging from bridges to fortifications. The charring process works through something called pyrolysis, which is basically the chemical decomposition of organic material through heat, but without actual combustion. Medieval builders would expose timber surfaces to controlled flames until a thin carbonized layer formed, typically about 3 to 5 millimeters deep. This carbon layer becomes hydrophobic, so it repels water that would otherwise soak into the wood. The process also gets rid of sugars and starches that attract insects and fungi, while creating an alkaline surface that's hostile to biological decay. Modern microscopic analysis of charred medieval timbers reveals that the heat treatment alters the wood's cellular structure, collapsing cell walls and creating a denser, more durable material. Evidence of charring's effectiveness comes from excavations all across Europe. Foundation posts from medieval London, preserved in the Thames riverbed and dated through dendrochronology to the 1100s and 1200s, show char layers that protected buried timber for centuries in waterlogged conditions. Archaeological sites in medieval German towns revealed charred timber posts that outlasted uncharred contemporaries by several hundred years. The technique proved so effective that it actually remained in use until the Industrial Revolution introduced chemical preservatives in the mid-19th century. The proof of medieval preservation mastery stands before us today. The Greenstead Church in Essex, England, built around 1060 CE with split oak logs, remains the oldest wooden church in the world. Its timber walls, treated with tar and positioned to shed water, have survived nearly a millennium. Westminster Hall's hammer beam roof, constructed between 1393 and 1401 CE under King Richard II, spans 240 feet, using massive oak timbers that show minimal decay after 630 years. The Viking ships displayed in Oslo's museums, preserved in clay burial mounds for over 1,000 years, demonstrate the longevity achievable through proper wood selection and tar treatment. Norway's Stave churches provide the most dramatic testament to medieval preservation techniques. The Ernest Stave Church, built around 1130 CE and designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site, stands on its original timber frame nearly 900 years later. The builders used vertical planks of pine heartwood, charred at the base and treated with tar, positioned on stone foundations to prevent ground moisture contact. Regular maintenance with pine tar, documented in church records throughout the centuries, kept the timber protected. Today, 28 Stave churches survive in Norway, all dating from the 12th and 13th centuries, their continued existence validating the sophisticated preservation knowledge of medieval craftsmen. These ancient techniques offer, honestly, some profound insights for modern sustainable construction. As concerns about toxic chemical treatments and environmental impact grow, architects and builders are rediscovering natural preservation methods. Contemporary projects in Scandinavia and Japan have successfully applied traditional charring to create durable, chemical-free exterior cladding. Natural oil and tar treatments provide alternatives to petroleum-based sealants, offering comparable protection without environmental harm. The medieval emphasis on proper wood selection, seasoning, and structural design that sheds water remains more effective than any coating applied to poorly chosen or prepared timber. The medieval builder's achievement wasn't accidental or primitive. It resulted from centuries of accumulated knowledge, careful observation of natural processes, and sophisticated understanding of materials. Their methods allowed timber to last not decades but centuries, creating structures that remain functional long after contemporary buildings require replacement. In our rush towards synthetic solutions, we abandoned techniques that worked precisely because they worked with nature rather than against it. The evidence stands around us, in cathedral roofs and church walls, in preserved ships and ancient posts. Medieval wood preservation wasn't a lost art because it failed. We lost it because we stopped paying attention. If this deep dive into evidence-based history has opened your eyes to the sophisticated engineering of our ancestors, make sure to subscribe to Raw History. Share this video with anyone who believes modern methods always surpass ancient wisdom. Together, we'll continue uncovering the unfiltered truth about human ingenuity across the centuries.